Welcome back. It's time now for Media Watch, and for that I'm joined by James Creedon. Hi there, James. We're going to have a start by looking at some of the online reaction to that announcement by Silvio Berlusconi that he is stepping down after a two-decade-long political career.
Right. It took him a while to get to that point. But anyway, let's have a look at La Repubblica online. This being one of the most opposed media outfits in France, or in Italy, of course, to Silvio Berlusconi. No friends of the Berlusconi or his media empire. Berlusconi si arrende, they say on the top line there, which is more or less hands himself in. It's almost an image of somebody handing themselves in to the police.
Up,
right? Yeah. So that in itself, I suppose, speaks of a certain happiness to see him go. This is the myeurope.info website, an interesting website based in Paris that looks at European news. Now, they point out that a journalist got a close-up photo of Berlusconi's speech that he delivered. It had 5 points, and you can see them here listed out. The first point was 8 traitors. The 8 traitors, that's in reference to the 8 people who didn't vote for Berlusconi on his own side. Therefore, he lost the majority, and that this is one of the reasons why he's stepping down. Taking stock of the situation, a new government, finding a solution, and standing down. So they were the 5 key points that he wanted to drive home in his speech today. A lot of websites, including this one in France, Le Parisien, almost giving his political obituary, going down through that very long political career of his, speaking about the fact that he started off as a vacuum cleaner salesman and to become the first I suppose, prime minister to own a football club, amongst many other identifying factors. You've got Storyful here, which is a website that collates tweets and other such useful bites from online, and they have a lot of information coming out of the Italian media as well. That's also worth looking at. 2 tweets that I picked out. The only thing certain in Italy tonight is the inevitable uncertainty of the coming hours and days as Berlusconi plots his next move. So while some media have his political obituary up already, others on Twitter are a lot more sceptical, saying, as this person says here as well, if Berlusconi's resignation is followed by early elections, there's no reason he couldn't stand again. So some people not so sure, really, that this is the end of Silvio Berlusconi.
Yeah, I think a lot of people saying not so fast. I mean, it really isn't time to be writing those obituaries, as you say. Now let's look at another story out there. Charlie Hebdo, the French satirical weekly.
Yes.
It's gone from one shocker to what looks like another.
We seem to see the thematic of I suppose their tonality, I suppose. Anyway, let's have a look at last week's front cover. This was the Prophet Muhammad, and that's not allowed, of course, in the Islamic faith. You're not allowed to show images or caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad. Back in 2006 in Denmark, a Danish paper did that. It sparked riots in many places around the world and up to 100 deaths. What did they do this week after their offices were firebombed last week because of that? We still don't know who was responsible for it. They put a photo of a devout Muslim on the front page kissing a cartoonist from Charlie Hebdo, both of them male, so a little bit provocative to say the least. And what they say there is love is stronger than hatred. So some on Twitter are saying, oh, well, they're actually, it's a sort of almost a conciliatory act coming from Charlie Hebdo. It's showing them kissing each other, so that's a kind of a conciliatory move, while also being a provocation. Now, Gawker in the US have called them the ballsiest magazine in the world. And if we have a look, I think it was our international affairs editor this evening, Douglas Herbert, was saying this is similar in some respects to a 1993 front cover of the New Yorker magazine. This after riots in Brooklyn going back to the early 90s between the Jewish community and the African American community. They showed a Hasidic Jewish man kissing an African American woman. It created outrage at the time as well, although that was between a man and a woman, at least a little bit less provocative in some ways.
All right, we've got something from Le Monde, which has a chart of insults that politicians have traded about each other. What's this about?
Now, this started in Business Week, Bloomberg's Business Week, yesterday. It's been picked up now today in Le Monde. And what they've done is they've put together all of these insults that politicians have come out with, well, behind closed doors, leaks, etc. So, for instance, apparently Merkel has said of Sarkozy that he's like Mr. Bean. Berlusconi said of Jose Zapatero that he's too pink. That's because there are too many women in his parliament, allegedly. And there was that infamous, I suppose we should finish with Berlusconi as we started with him, that infamous slight that Berlusconi made about Merkel in a private conversation that was leaked recently, calling her a quote-unquote lard arse. So there you go. He's been controversial from beginning to end, really, hasn't he?
Well, I don't think I have anything to add to that. Thank you very much indeed, James Creedon. That was Media Watch. Well, do stay tuned. We've got more news coming up very shortly here on France 24.